Welcome for the second time into our webinars, interviews in the Club for ELT freelancers, female freelancers. It's good to have you back.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Yay! Yay! So, you please introduce yourself because we have some new members and maybe other people will be watching this interview. We don't know yet. Yeah, we just talked about it. Those of you who are not familiar with Klára, I have known her for several years from the online world. We met even before I started the club, so maybe over 3 years now
Yeah,
already.
I guess
And
so.
we have both been in the ELT industry for over a decade, maybe almost two. I'm not gonna say more, right? So
Let's
I
not
will.
reveal the real age, right?
Yes, yes, let's not do that. But you're as young as you feel, right?
Exactly.
So could you please introduce yourself and your work? What's your pedagogical and freelancing background? Because we are in a freelancers club, so the ladies will definitely be interested in the freelancing part as well. And also your personal situation, whatever you want to reveal. Have you got kids? Where do you live? Does your husband work? Is he a freelancer? All of that nitty
Yeah,
gritty.
like reveal all the good bits and pieces, right?
Yes, and then we'll dive
Okay,
into teaching and freelancing and all that.
of
But it's
course.
nice to have the background, I think.
Yeah,
We already have one heart. People are watching even in the morning. Yay. Hello,
thanks.
ladies. Tell us who's watching.
It's nice to be here. Thank you. So my name is Klára Pirklová, and last time I was here, it was 2 years ago, right? Do you remember? Yeah, we had a similar interview, and back then I would call myself an English teacher, which is my background. I'm an accredited teacher for teaching at the basic school and also for high school, but I've actually never done that, and I've been always like on a freelance way. But what has changed ever since the last interview is that now I don't, or currently I don't. Call myself an English teacher anymore. I call
Mhm.
myself a learning designer. I think we will talk about this into more detail later on. But what I want to say, what I think is important at the beginning of this interview about like teaching languages online, is to say that currently I don't teach languages in a commercial setting. I only teach
Yeah.
languages non-profit, and I only teach languages locally. So it's important to say it doesn't mean I don't teach online, right? So we will also talk about the combinations of offline and online teaching,
Yes,
right? So
please.
I teach locally and I teach blended, I teach online, and it's pretty fun. Um, Apart from the job part, I am a mother of 4 kids. Right now, one of my kids is sick, so there was a quick run to a shop to buy some meat for broth soup. So he's now making the broth soup himself, but that's also like one of the advantages of online freelancing, that I can be here for the kids when they
He
need.
is making it himself.
Yeah, well,
You,
he is almost 13, so
but
he
still, he's a boy, 12 years old. He's making his
well.
own broth. Well-trained kids, Clara. Well
Well,
done.
I
Well
put
done.
it on the stove, and he just got the
Stir it.
instructions. Exactly. So it's not like he's this kind of cook boy.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we live in a village. I think it's also important to say, because
Yes.
that's also one of the reasons I work online. It was a must at certain point of my life. Right now, I can afford to leave the house sometimes, but at certain point of my life, when I had 4 young kids, it was almost impossible to leave house. Yeah, so I learned to do my job online in very short periods of time. I did 30-minute lessons, I did like 15-minute meetings, and it's something I still try to stick, and like to stick on. Yeah, yeah, and not to do like, not to promise like larger
Mhm.
parts of time, because
Only
there's,
when you organize your conference.
yeah,
When
yeah, when
you
I
have to be
organize my
very.
yeah, when I organize my online conference, I put the energy into the prep week, the week of conference, and the week after, and it's like 3 weeks when my husband takes over. So it's like
Wow.
it's the deal.
Wow. Can you tell us a little bit more for those who don't know about your conference, please?
Yeah, so this is a conference called Učíme jazyky online, and at the beginning, it was, when COVID came, and I was learning everything myself, and I was diving into the online teaching world. I was really fascinated by what exactly it means, that it's not only the technology, but it's all about like digital competence, digital skills, and so on. So, like out of this,
You
out
can.
of, yeah, hi, out of this, fascination, I organized the first conference, and it had a really good reply. I got a lot of messages that it helped people, not only freelancers but also school teachers. So I like organized the second year, and I think I will organize a third year again. So
Well
it's in
done.
spring.
Well done. You're doing this online. I'm doing this offline with the Language Teachers Festival. We beautifully complement each other, I
Yeah.
think.
Actually, when you mentioned this, yesterday was a big day for me, because after 12 years, I had like a 10-year maternity leave and 2 years of COVID. So after 12 years, um I did something what
Offline.
I was thinking this would never happen this moment, yeah, but I organized like an offline networking of the teachers I work with, and I also did an offline workshop. So it happened yesterday. I'm still a bit tired, but it was really great. We spent together 7 hours. It was really beautiful to meet all the people I only know from the online space.
Yes,
And
it is beautiful. I
yeah,
know.
it was really powerful. Big moment.
Yay. And as we spoke about this in our pre-interview chat, yeah, the other day, now it's the time to find the balance, because we've learned the online, we knew we had known the offline before, and now we're coming back to it. Those of us who miss it, including myself, because my whole business was offline before COVID. And now we can choose and balance it out however we please. So that's great news, but
Yeah.
it takes a bit of time to process and to find your own way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's always good to, uh, to explore all the possibilities, because online teaching
Yeah,
is not only about sitting in front of the screen and, like using technology.
true.
It's actually more about, like taking into account what has changed for the students, and how 21st century works in their lives. So uh, that's
For
that's
us,
what.
for our industry, I think it has been a blessing in disguise. Yeah, this pandemic time when everybody moved online, because I was working online before you as well a little bit. Yeah, and I welcomed this change so much. It like skyrocketed the more flexible mindset and approach of everyone on this planet, basically,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
has internet access. And
Yeah, I
how,
actually looked into some numbers
Mhm.
from Český statistický úřad, and the numbers reveal that there was really like a skyrocketed trend,
Shift,
or
yes, yeah.
there is, because in a year 2019, only 8% of Czech people used some online services or online products for
Eight.
learning. Yeah, 8%
Yeah, that's about
used.
how it felt before that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
before.
remember.
And in 2021, it was 20% of all people aged between 16 and 74. And it's not only like the public schools, it's also commercial sphere, companies, and so on. So there's this trend.
Institutions, offices, governmental offices, everyone,
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah,
Kids, we teach kids here at English, yeah. So everyone, even though they still, now they go to an offline school, they still like to learn. Like the parents understand that now they have access to teachers anywhere from around the world, so they don't have
right.
to be, in my case, in Brno. We teach kids from all around the Czech Republic. And I know in our club there are teachers who teach kids from all around the world, teaching them Czech, for example. And that Jitka, who's watching, hi Jiti, to
Ah.
Edinburgh. Yes,
Hi to
yes,
Scotland.
and that's beautiful. We have Petya here who just said hi. She's in Liberec. Yeah, and
Hi.
so we can teach, and you can also teach and train people from anywhere around the world.
Yeah, exactly. From my
Is that
small
why you love
village.
online teaching? Is that why you love online teaching? What are the reasons you love this? Let's talk about the passion we have for online teaching.
Well, I think it's I experienced I was teaching for language schools, and I experienced like really good teachers, like really good offline teachers. I went through like training of teaching, training of didactics. So I think I know what's really the best the offline world can offer in terms of language teaching. Yeah. But still, I'm still fascinated by what much more can be done in the online setting. Yeah,
Yes,
the it's not only the shift. Like, I mean, it's not only that we can use materials from all around the world. It's not only that we can meet people, but it's like a whole mindset shift. Like. I don't know how I would explain it, but I usually use the example of Gen Z, the generation of young kids. They really are different, and you can see it in the way they learn. They don't learn like linearly. They
yes,
learn more like they like pick berries. It's like berry picking. They pick what they need. They combine all this.
yes,
It's not linear at all. They
yes,
use hypertext, and they use all the information for problem solving. And this
yes,
is so fascinating. And you also have a young kid, or
yes. I see
13-year
it.
old. So
Yeah,
you can see how different it is from how we learned when we were at this age. Yeah. And it's really like my kids, I have 4 kids, all kids are different, but they really benefit from the online world in terms of teaching. That's what I can say for sure.
fantastic. Nice to hear. I definitely confirm from what I see around in our kids' courses as well. They are returning, and they are really improving because they're enjoying all the apps and tools, and of course you can make them run around and then go and asynchronously work in teams, and then outside of the classes, and yeah, and then the research that is basic for continuing our education, and it's often forced in schools, and kids hate it, becomes a fun process. And
Yeah.
I see how different it is with the older generations, because I mainly myself focus on helping adult learners learn, and you as well. And it's not this cherry picking, it's like we want to go linear, and what's A, B, C, D. And I've been doing this for 13 years now, and it is becoming easier, but there are still people, especially if they're 45 plus, that just can't do it, or just waiting for you to tell them everything. And yeah,
Yeah, but
right.
yesterday at the workshop, I was talking about this, and I asked people beginning the workshop, uh, what they do more if they when they learn some new when they learn to cook some new meal, if they like follow the instructions, the recipe in a cookbook, or if they follow a YouTube video. And it was
Yeah.
really like half and half, even though we were aged like 30 to 50. Yeah.
Mhm.
So even in our generation,
Yes,
you can see that there is not this strict linear thinking. Yeah, that
absolutely.
we also benefit from YouTube videos, even though they're in a language we don't understand. Yeah, and we really like benefit from this multicultural world which is happening online.
Maybe it has to be in your genes, but of course, you can also relearn this. I am like this myself, and that's why I run my courses this way. Like,
Yeah.
but for many people it's chaotic. But life, as I say, life is chaotic. It's more organic. Life is not linear. Why should education be linear? Okay, I love this conversation. Let's go on. Why else do you love online teaching? Anything else? Because you already mentioned you have 4 kids, so not so easy to get out of the house. You live in a small place, not so easy to attract the clients that you want to work with. Maybe, like they're in
Yeah,
Prague or
certainly.
abroad. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are doing
Yeah,
this conversation is happening between Brno and your place near Prague. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's also, you mentioned this before, that you can, when you figure out your passion, when you figure out who you want to follow online, who you want to learn from, what you want to do, you can do it. For example, in the past 2 years, I've had this career shift, and I wanted to have some, basics, good basics. So I was searching some, I don't know, online course that would give me the basics. But in the end, I found an online course at the university. So right now, I'm studying university. At my 40, I'm turning 40 this year. At the age of 40, I returned to a university, which is actually in Brno, the best city in the world. And it wouldn't have been possible without this
Yeah.
online setting.
Yes.
Yeah, we the course, the program is running full. It's called full hybrid, or even a high flex, which means if I want to, I can come to Brno, which I do sometimes because it's the best city in the world. But if I cannot, I just stay at home and I watch the lesson, like synchronously when it's going on.
Yep.
And if I can't be at the computer at that time, I can watch the recording. So it's like I have three
Yep.
possibilities how I can study.
And how easy is it now for the provider, for the course provider, to arrange this? Because we all know how to do it as the client, and most teachers or uh, learning designers, or whatever I should call
Right.
you, know how to do this by now. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it is specific. It's not possible to do everything like everything what you do offline, just to switch online and do the same. It's not a good thing to do. So even
yeah,
these online university courses, which are now really like emerging from the ground. So if you want to study university, now is the right time. Um, they also have to learn how to do it. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
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 but it's really a blessing
yeah.
because I am a mother of four living at the village. Um, and it's really a blessing for me. But my friend who's living in a like in a village nearby, she's disabled, and now she's studying a program in Olomouc, which
Wow,
wouldn't have been possible at all
impossible.
for
Yeah,
her. Yeah,
yeah,
so this is also the benefit.
yeah. Thank you. However, I wanted to ask, you often use the term e-learning. That's why I also called this, we called this together, we agreed on this, this webinar, e-learning in language teaching. How is e-learning different from online teaching? Why do you call it e-learning? Or is it different? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm aware that the term e-learning is not like the easiest one. It has a lot of connotations from, like the beginnings of internet in the 90s. So some of you may imagine like old, slow, you know, like all this not very good service and products. But still, there is this fixed term, coined term, e-learning industry.
Yes,
It's it it's an umbrella term for all the products, services, all the commercial activities happening in the online world, which concern learning in the online setting. Yeah, so that's why I use the term e-learning,
yeah,
because I feel that's the umbrella term.
yes.
But I am trying to figure a better term right now, so we will see
No,
if I
but
come
this term,
up
as you
with
say,
something.
it was coined much before the pandemic and this online learning boom. Online learning, I see as it is a different term, absolutely. And e-learning consists of everything. And now we can talk about synchronous, asynchronous, blended, flipped learning, flipped classroom, all of that. So, if we can dive a little bit deeper into what consists of
Yeah, right.
e-learning,
So
actually.
if e-learning is the umbrella,
Hmm.
which I think it is, we can put everything you just mentioned under this
Yeah,
umbrella term. Yeah, so it's like video conferences, Zoom, Google Meet, all the webinars we do for our clients, video courses, audio courses, but even all these combinations, which is, as you mentioned, blended learning, flipped classroom, online tutoring, or even electronic portfolios. Yeah,
yes.
so it's like all these trends and services that are emerging as a reply to what's working, what's not working, etc.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
can you explain what blended learning is? Maybe some of the listeners have never heard of it, and maybe also flipped classroom,
right.
asynchronous, synchronous. I think we all know by now.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and Nina, mentioned that you've been doing this for for a long time. So if you
Yeah,
follow
yeah,
Nina, you know exactly what blended learning is and what flipped classroom is. But I will explain. Blended learning is actually like a term for combined learning. Yeah, blended, like a blend, some nice blend. Um, so, what it means is that some course is happening synchronously. It
yeah,
means we can provide some lessons, some meetings, either online or offline, but there's the synchronous part.
Yeah.
And there is more, like more part, like there's more time, like you add some time with asynchronous learning, and it only depends on the teacher and student what they agree on. Yeah, there are like when you look at the offer of large like language schools in the world, you will always find something like blended learning. They
Mm-hmm.
usually, like the large schools like British Council and like Institute, French Institute, and all these cultural institutions, they usually develop their own app. So they have this app. They offer
Yeah.
this app as part of the learning process, and with that they can ask for a teacher who they meet with, like in a group or one to one. It really depends on like offer and the needs of the student. Yeah. But when we look at, for example, offer of some large European agencies which work in African or Asian countries, this blended learning is even more complicated and complex. So, for example, when some agency is coming to African country and wants to help make some changes through educating people, not only in the languages, but also in some new concepts, they usually start with some video course, which comes before a real person comes to, on to the location. So the learners go through this video course. They have to pass some test in
Yeah.
order to continue the education. Then they meet up for some workshop, for example, 2 or 3 day workshop, which is happening locally. Very intensive, experiential workshop. And after this, they, for example, provide this agency, like UN, like parts of the UN, they provide some supervision, which is
Mm-hmm.
again happening online.
Yeah.
So this is cost effective, time effective, and of course, when it's like it has these stages, and there are some marks which learners have to pass. It's also like learning effective. So of course there are better blended courses and there are worse blended courses, and we have to figure out what's the best thing for our student at that moment. Yeah.
And that's why people like Klára come in,
Exactly.
because they can help with the learning design and listen to the needs of the organization or the company or the group of people. And then
Right.
you can design a course fit to their needs, and it's blended and it's cost
Right.
effective. And yay. I want to ask the ladies here in our club whether they have used a version of this. I am sure there's some of you who have used at least something from this structure that Klára just described. And if you haven't, I highly recommend it, because the students love it, you will love it. It's so much more fun, it gets more exciting, and the progress is so much faster, and you enrich everyone, including yourself, so much, right, Claro? You have
Yeah, yeah.
experience with
I
that.
would just say that in like for a freelancer, a language teaching freelancer, the easiest way to implement blended learning is to shorten the lessons. from
Yeah.
60 minutes to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And the rest provide through some asynchronous, like it can be whatever setting. It can be WhatsApp
Yeah.
conversation, it can be video, audio, whatever you feel strong at and what you feel the student needs.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
or
so
a
that's the easiest.
Facebook group, and uploading things there, recordings of your synchronous sessions, just like you described with your university experience. So, from your perspective, how would you say methodology changed since the pandemic, thanks to this new interface? As I said, I would call it a new interface because all of it together is completely
Mm,
different,
yeah.
like putting everything together. How has
Mhm.
ELT methodology changed?
I think it the change hasn't started in the middle of the pandemic. It
Exactly.
certainly did start many years ago, and I think you like dived into this changed a decade ago, right?
Yes.
You with your methods and with your blended courses, flipped classroom, you really dived into this a long time ago, but now it has certainly accelerated the
And it's in the
spread.
mainstream.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
it's
in the
becoming
mainstream.
mainstream. Yeah, so schools are uh, trying to figure out what to do with all the students that are used to online learning. Now, the Ministry of Education is like really, or not only Ministry of Czech Ministry of Education, but whole European Union is
Yeah.
like putting much bigger pressure on digital competencies of teachers and students. So public schools have to figure it out, and when public schools are figuring it out, it means everybody else is
I got
figuring it.
goosebumps. I am serious. Like I could have never dreamt of this happening so fast. And I also
Yeah.
believe our beloved language coaching approach is going to go along this change, and teachers will give much more independence to themselves and their supervisors to them. That's very, very important to say in public schools, but also then to the students. And then I'm gonna cry. I want to cry now because, like, seriously, everyone,
So
I
be
have been praying
careful.
for this for
Yeah.
more than a decade. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is like a dream come true to all the language teaching innovators that go back to the 70s, 20th century.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So all
Beautiful.
the innovative teachers are now coming true for, the mainstream pedagogy.
Let's talk
Yeah.
more about online world and online teaching and online tools. Shall we? Shall we move a little bit towards?
To the tools, to the
Yes,
apps, or shall I still speak about the organization of teaching? Because we mentioned
yes,
only
please.
blended
Yeah,
learning.
continue the
Yeah.
organization of teaching, and then I'm just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm jumping, like I'm picking,
yeah,
and then I'm
no
jumping. So
problem.
thank you for being more organized. I just get too excited about this. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Go
Yeah,
on.
so I mentioned blended learning, and I would
Yes.
like to mention one more term, which you also mentioned before, and it's flipped classroom. Yeah, flipped means like přetočený. So it's not the same. It would be under the term of blended learning.
Blended
It's
learning. Yeah.
similar, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not exactly the same. Yesterday at my workshop, we were working with this concept of flipped classroom, and actually, it shouldn't add on more time on the students. If you're
Mhm.
designing flipped classroom, you shouldn't be like, okay, now you have this 1 hour video before you come to the class and you watch it and then we will talk about it. It's impossible.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nobody will do it.
Yeah, nobody will
Adults
do
won't do
it.
it. Even
Yeah,
kids won't do it. No.
don't use like worksheets, don't use long videos. Nobody will do it. The only
Yeah.
thing people will do is watch some video, search for something online, and answer one simple question. Yeah. So it means like you ask them one question, and in the lesson you basically want them to answer this question, which helps them get into some new topic or concept or grammar or vocabulary, whatever you are just doing in the lesson. But what's the flip part is that in the lesson you only practice. It's not
Yeah.
about understanding something because they already got into some level of understanding, and you only practice. So you only talk or you do the experiential work. I watched some videos, interview with students from the first fully flipped school. Yeah, in America. I think it happened. This changed in this school. Happened in the year 2011, and it's like the first American fully flipped school. So they only do flipped classrooms. And I watched some interviews with the students, and they were like, so before this change in our school, I wouldn't have done any homework, because I commute. It was like a Hispanic student, so I had to commute, or I have to commute for 20 minutes. It's impossible for me to open up a book and do some exercises in the bus, right? But now with the flipped classroom, I only put on my earbuds and I watch some video, I think about it a little bit, and that's it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for the students, it was so much easier.
Yeah. What are some other things apart from overwhelming the student that we should focus on and think of
Yeah,
better?
like the overwhelming part is really important,
Yeah.
but it's not the only one. You've definitely heard of the term micro learning.
Yeah.
So in the online setting, people are learning in micro units.
Doses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
micro videos, which should be ideally between 5 and 7 minutes. Now imagine what you will say in 5 to 7 minutes. I learned this hard way. It was not possible for me to make a video 5 to 7 minutes. So I re-recorded videos so many times, and
I
still
know. Me
it
too.
was 10 plus, yeah, 10 minutes plus. um but I like finally I know how to do it. Yeah, so now it's really not such a problem. It's about sequences, about thinking sequentially, not like putting everything in one thought, but making it like in small bites,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is like really to focus on problem solving. Yeah, so you have to imagine the problem the student is having, not the problem that you are having, but the problem the student is having. It was quite funny when I was, we were designing a course, not a blended course. It was like a pretty normal course of English at one gymnasium, yeah, with two teachers, and they were like, okay, we would love to prepare the students for a holiday in the country of the language, yeah, they are learning. And we would like to teach them how to communicate at the airport and in the supermarket and on the beach and in the hotel. And I was like, okay, but this is a holiday you would go in.
Yes.
Yes, you would need these expressions. are you sure the students who are aged between 11 and 18 would need such, expressions? Because and I was like, okay, so what could they need? And actually they need to introduce themselves to other kids when they do these exchange programs. They don't need to communicate at the airport because they're going by bus, right, to these exchange programs. Yeah, and they need to maybe talk about interests and food and all the things that are really happening through the exchange program. And they were like, okay, this is eye opening for they were like, this is eye
Common
opening.
sense. No, this is not eye-opening. This is common sense. This is you forgot. You were brainwashed at pedagogical faculty, and you forgot how to think. With your
Yeah.
common sense.
Yeah, so it's like the online course or the blended course needs to be
Yeah,
focused on problem
problem
solving of
solving.
problems the
not
students
not
have.
learning for learning, not
Yeah.
learning for finishing the book. That's why I don't like standardized tests, because there's so much focus on learning for the test, not learning for life. May I ask you for some tools that you really love and maybe we don't know? Because we
Hmm.
mentioned a few in our pre-interview chat, and you were like, ah, I believe like everyone knows this and this, and then you mentioned something, and no, I don't know this.
Okay. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to say that I'm a minimalist. Yeah. From
Yeah.
some point I like ditched most of the apps, and I only use a few of them, but I make use of them like fully. Yeah, I know all the functions, I know how to use them. And my tool number one is, of course, Zoom,
Hmm.
which has improved so much ever since it emerged, or it came to the scene of COVID pandemic. So it's really like a great tool. You can do polls in Zoom. You can use interactive whiteboard.
Yeah.
You can like use all the emoticons. You can use chat, and it helps the process and it doesn't slow it down. Yeah, so it's really great. And tool which I love to use is called, and what you just mentioned is Nearpod.
Aha. Okay.
It's tool nearpod.com.
How do you
It
spell
was
it? Near .com.
Nearpod, yeah, .com. And it was developed for US teachers. So it's uh, it's full of materials for US kids, yeah, but it's actually very good for English learners too, because these videos are very good, fascinating. Some of them are made by professional hip hoppers, so they even like work through some interesting topic through hip hop. Yeah, so it's like, wow, like, who is doing this? It's rhymed, it's fun, it's like professional video, and it's about some interesting topic, yeah, like global topics, local topics. Yeah, so it's fun.
Okay.
And this Nearpod, imagine that it's something like PowerPoint on steroids. That's what, yeah, that's what I heard about this. Because you use it partly as a presentation, like a normal ordinary presentation. You put some pictures and words on it, but then like you can put also some interactive quizzes uh, like throughout the presentation. So you
Hmm.
present some topic, and on the next slide student are diving into the topic through some interactive stuff. Yeah, and it's used the same way as Kahoot. So you send the students code, they put it on their mobile phone, and they work through the presentation with you through the code on their mobile phone. Yeah, so it's like they're with you and they are like in the presentation with you, which is great.
People love this. People love being live like that. Yeah. And does it have a competition, like a gaming side
Yeah,
of things?
it does have a competition part, and it also, what it does is you don't need to do it in the lesson. So if some
Yeah.
student is missing, you can send a link for doing it after the lesson. It's like asynchronous.
Yeah.
Plus, it collects the data. It
Yeah.
collects you how well the students are doing. So after the lesson, you can just take a look and see who is struggling and who is doing well. Yeah, so which is great because um, you can it helps you design the next lesson. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when you
Mm-hmm.
have data, you know what you have to focus on and what's okay, because
Mm-hmm.
during the lesson you don't need to mention, or you don't need to notice what especially if you have a group courses, uh, it's sometimes you just overlook. Yeah, so this
So,
is a good tool.
what is the feedback of your clients who have used this? Are they enjoying it? Is it more for the kids, or are adults enjoying it as well?
Certainly for both. Yeah, adults for sure. But it depends on what you present. Yeah, it has to be to the point. It doesn't necessarily need to be anything fancy and smart and like overwhelming. It needs to be some very simple, easy topic with pictures, some phrases, maybe even translations, because older students, they love to translate sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's totally up to you how you design this presentation, but you can be sure they will participate fully. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
when you have like 6 to 8 people in the course.
Mm-hmm. Is this free or how much is it?
Yeah, it's free. It's free. I think you can do as many presentations as you like. I usually like
Wow.
delete what I don't use and make a new one. But I think you can have as many as you like. But you are limited in the use of the pre-made videos, which I don't
Right.
mind. Yeah, so
Right. So,
it's
ladies, try it out. This sounds fantastic. What do you say? What do
yeah,
you
yeah.
say?
But I
Oh,
think Kahoot has also made a progress. I have never used Kahoot actually, like in teaching. I only was going through it. But I heard that it also made a progress, that you can do it asynchronously with students and that it collects data, which is, I
yes,
think, the
yes,
most
yes.
important part.
Kahoot is amazing. Everyone loves Kahoot. Adults, kids. Yeah, that would definitely be on my top five from the
Yeah.
pandemic that I
Yeah,
learned
so
and still
Nearpod
using.
is similar, but not so competitive. Yeah, it can
Okay.
be competitive, but it doesn't have to be.
Gathering people's data, does it help you? Because we have a question from one of the ladies. How do you track students' progress? This would definitely help you to track students' progress, right?
Yes.
Are there
Yeah.
other ways how you track students' progress? My favorite way is helping students lose the fear of recording themselves so that they record their English. So that would be my number one, and a few others. What about yours?
Yeah, I actually I don't need to make the assessment, right? We are not at school, so this is very good for me, and I don't need to think about it so much. Uh, but as you are saying, when they lose the fear of recording themselves, It's something I like a lot. And I especially like when my students start recording selfie videos, or when they,
Yes,
like do
yes.
it outside of the class, not in the class, but outside of the class. They learned to cut the videos. There is this cut cap app on for mobile phone, which is for free. They learn to cut the videos, and it's actually with one group that I was teaching last year. It was like the flipped
Hmm,
classroom.
hmm,
uh,
hmm.
the base of the flipped
Section.
classroom. They used some short video. It didn't have to be long. It could be just 2 minutes, just recording something they see around themselves, and maybe talking about it, or talking about their hobby or whatever. And then they send it out to me 24 hours before the lesson. I knew who did what I can count on, and then design the lesson around the videos.
Someone's asking, what's the app for the cutting of videos? It's
Cut.
CapCut, ladies, and
Okay.
I will now post
CapCut,
it.
right.
Yeah, CapCut. I will post it. What it looks like in our chat as well. I just made a screenshot on my mobile phone. That's what I was doing here,
Yeah.
multitasking, still listening to you. Selfie videos. I love those when they record themselves, and sometimes they do, like often they do it without me asking them, or I just inspire them by me recording something for them. And I don't even say, like, oh, you have to reply this way. They do it spontaneously. And I would say this is definitely one of the hot things in ELT methodology recently, and it's so helpful. Are there other things apart from flipped classroom and blended learning and making recording audio and video messages to the teacher back and forth or with the group that you would mention? Is there anything that we haven't spoken about yet that's really hot and
Yeah.
you would want to
Uh,
mention it?
yeah, there is this concept which is called online tutoring. Online tutoring. Which actually is what you just mentioned, like sending messages. Yeah, but it's I should start from the beginning. Online tutoring is a way to help student like stay accountable throughout
Yeah,
the whole course, right? So it emerged when the researchers around this whole e-learning industry um, figure out that only like a small percentage of students really finish online courses.
yes.
So it's just 2 to 5%. Like the skeptics say, it may be even less. Yeah.
Only it used to be like last time I read the statistics, it was 10.
No, it's the optimistic view.
This was like 3, 4 years ago, I think. So it
Yeah,
changed, and
yeah,
I can
yeah.
understand why. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
I don't know, maybe these are some, old numbers, but right now it's 5 and under, and the skeptics say 2 and under. Yeah, so this like whole concept of online tutor emerge out of these numbers. And when you hear the word tutor, it's like one-to-one teacher. It's someone who helps you with school, yeah, like doučování, right?
yeah,
It's the meaning of this word. In the
yeah,
old age, it was a name, a title for a home teacher, for a teacher who would come and teach you Latin, piano, and like this very good friend who is helping you become better. Yeah, and it's exactly what online tutoring is about. You are becoming a friend, um, kind of friend teacher, who is really developing a very good relationship with the student. And by making this very good relationship and constructive feedback and support and motivation, all these skills, like all these communication skills, which we have to learn all life, is like pushing him through some course, through some material, through some topic, through some, whatever is the demand, whatever is the student trying to
I
solve.
think this is often done in these WhatsApp courses that are very popular these days. Alcha Wagnerova was telling us about it last month, how she runs her WhatsApp groups. And I think she has kind of this online tutor role in her course from what she described.
Yeah.
Do you know more
It's
about
done.
these WhatsApp courses? Are they
Yeah,
very popular now? Yeah.
I did an interview with Šárka Jeřábková, who is a teacher of Czech as a foreign language, about this, because she does teach through WhatsApp, even group courses and even like fully asynchronous courses. So I was interested in how she does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I was also using WhatsApp in my group of like Ukrainian students of Czech language, and I was figuring out how to do it. And actually, what Sharka said, and what I think is very important also for the tutor role, is that you just lead like completely ordinary communication with the student. You don't try to teach them through through the WhatsApp group. You just lead communication. If they make mistake, you don't say like, this is a mistake in like of the first form of this noun in this sentence, and it should be done like this, and do all the grammar rules. Nothing like that. You just hold a normal
Yeah.
conversation. You allow them to use the autocorrect tool, which is like built in WhatsApp. And sometimes, if they make a mistake, you just give them feedback by mimicking the mistake, mimicking the sentence, and writing it correctly. So this is like the core
Yes.
of holding a WhatsApp group.
Um, I think this is also a way most people these days prefer to be led. They don't want to be taught theory. They just want to be corrected and move on. And eventually they internalize the correct version and just go on. This is how I've been helping my clients recently in the past few years, like completely getting rid of the teaching part and just correcting them. Some when they ask, I of course, as a trained teacher, ELT teacher, I can explain it, but very often they don't ask. They just internalize it. And this is how children learn grammar. They don't ask why I'm correcting the kids. They just repeat, or I ask them, can you repeat? You need to
Yeah.
repeat the correct version. That's
Right.
one thing for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Right.
so this is also what I did in my WhatsApp courses. It was more, I wasn't just an online tutor, because I like it was a group of the Ukrainian refugees, and they had to learn very fast. So we used a book in the course. We used to meet for 1.5 hours during the week, and I asked them to do some more exercises, but the main role in the WhatsApp group was really not to be the teacher. Yeah, it's what I
Yeah.
understood and what helped the process.
Mm-hmm. So it's nice that we have all these options for different online apps and tools. Like now we mentioned Zoom, we mentioned WhatsApp. We use in our courses we often use Whereby because kids love it. The interface is really nice. Many people use Google Meet. Do you know more about how Google Meet and Zoom are different? For example, that's something I definitely wanted to ask because lots of teachers are wondering what should I use, and this is like Zoom is more expensive than Meet. I think it's for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm just considering leaving Zoom for Google Meet, but
Hmm.
I'm not exactly sure how Google Meet works for Gmail. For the personal Gmail, because last year I've switched to Google Workspace, so I have a little bit more
Yeah.
possibilities there. And I think the main difference, it's for free. Both are for free. I just pay for the workspace, like just one sum, and the rest is for free. And I think the most important is that with Gmail you cannot record the videos, and with Google Workspace you can record the
Ah,
videos. Yeah, but a
right.
Google Workspace, as I'm using it, is 10 euros monthly, which
Yeah.
is, I think, still better
Cheaper.
price
Yeah, it's
than
cheaper than Zoom.
Zoom. Yes.
And it has all the interactive whiteboard, all of this breakout rooms,
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
it,
it
right?
has interactive whiteboard, even better than Zoom, because the
Mm-hmm.
interactive whiteboard in Google Meet is actually Jamboard, right? So when it's
Right.
like
Yeah, it's a Google
it's
product.
like built
Right.
in whiteboard. Yeah, and you don't need to go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere else. You just use it within Google Meet, which is great. And what's for me, recording is very important tool, and also not only recording but storing the recording. Yeah, you need to store it somehow
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, and this is
Mm-hmm.
what Zoom is also like putting more and more price on. So this is the reason why I am
I know.
thinking.
I
Yeah.
know. I hope nobody from Zoom is listening to this because I actually left Zoom, the paid
Okay.
Zoom, this January when they when they put up the prices. And I'm more on WhatsApp and Whereby these days.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
it serves me very well because I'm also very minimalistic like you are, and I don't need all these functions. But I understand, it depends on what type of courses you run. So always look
Right.
i- again, problem solving, yeah, just like we spoke about before. Use your common sense and check it out what it is that you're doing in your courses. But this is a
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah.
important thought process and analysis of what you need for your teaching. I'd like to ask now, when you work with teachers, because you, in the past 2 years, you've helped so many teachers through your online courses and mentoring programs and consultations. What do you see as our biggest struggle these days? Is it some apps? Is it the tech issues? Is it course design? Is it communication with clients? Is it promoting the courses? Is it pricing? There's so many things. It's so complex, right?
Yeah.
So,
So
what do
it
we struggle with
depends.
the most?
It depends on who I work with. Yeah, school teachers, they struggle. Uh, Usually, some innovative school teachers come to me, reach out to me, and ask for help. And some of these teachers actually asked me to come to the school and convince other teachers from their language department to make a change. They actually asked me, for example, to talk about the new methodology and about Gen Z, how they work, how they function. and stuff like that. So this is what I feel is the struggle among school teachers when they want to make a change. It's
Yeah.
not so easy for them. Yeah, they need
Hmm.
to convince several other people in the school. Yeah, so but
Yeah.
in terms of freelancers, it's certainly marketing and selling, which I'm not. I am not an expert in this, but whenever I start working, or you start working, or whoever starts working with freelancers, this is certainly the number one topic. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So what?
I confirm.
Yeah,
Same
you
here.
know it. Yeah. So what I do is that I help them design which courses which will be sold, right? So from the very start, we go through this design thinking process.
Yeah.
We talk. I lead them. I instruct them to talk to the customer first before they start designing something. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
most important part. Somebody doesn't like it, they are like, well, it's too long and I don't have time to talk to the clients. But that's really the most important thing, because
Yeah.
when you imagine you later on spend hours on designing some course and thinking about details of the course, you really need to be aware of who you are designing it for,
Yeah.
right?
Once again,
Yeah.
yes. Here we go. Here we go again. Yes, and
Yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
that,
the first rule of copywriting, rule of learning design. Everything comes
yeah,
from
right.
the needs of the client. Yes, yes, yes. Not how
Yeah,
you
and
think it should be done.
this is what's very similar. Like it's a similar process actually, marketing and learning design, right? You really need to focus on the customer, but then there's this other part which is called selling, and it's like like shock number two. Should I really be selling it or pushing through the process, and should I, like put some price on it? And I'm like, yeah, you should,
No, you
you
just
should.
have it sit in the corner, and somebody will magically find it
Yes, yeah, yeah.
for
And
free.
also exactly. And I am like using this comparison. Do you remember Horst Fuchs, the teleshopping king, who was in the
Yes.
90s? He was selling pots and pans through teleshopping, and it's like an ugly figure, and nobody wants to be like him. And then I compare him to Leonardo DiCaprio, who is a Hollywood star. And whenever any of his movies are about to, be streamed in the cinema, he starts to appear everywhere in the tabloid, in interviews. He's talking about his work. He is very self-conscious about his work, and there's no way he would be hiding, right? So this is what
Yeah.
I always compare these two figures, and then I hope there comes some realization from this comparison, right?
May
Yeah.
I ask one more thing, like more personal thing? So when we talk about struggles, you spoke about your back. Do you, and you mentioned pricing. That's a big thing for me when I mentor other teachers as well, and we all struggle with it, women more than men. What about you? How do you go about pricing? Do you have a strategy, or do you just feel it out? Like, how do you go about pricing your courses? I promised the ladies I would.
Yeah, I think I have a strategy. Like the past couple of years, I am aware of what I want to sell and what I don't want to sell. It means I know what I like price really high. Yeah, these are like the consultations, because this is something
Yeah.
like people always buy. Somebody always buys this, and it's good to have this pricing anchor on it, like in your offer, right? And then you
Kotva se
have,
tomu říká, že jo?
right. Yeah, so and then you have the things you want to sell, and like you play a little bit with the prices. Right now I'm repricing my like mentoring program, because I figured what the finally, after 1 year of like holding, I figured what the clients need, right? So this will be more one-on-one based in some short um, short units of time, uh, less group based, right? So, and this is, of course, it needs to be more pricey, because it wouldn't pay my time. Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
you need to go figure, ask people, not to worry what they say about your works. Of course, it's not pleasant if somebody criticizes what you have designed, but it's the most important thing, because it then helps you make it better, price it better. Yeah.
Well,
I
thank you
hope
for sharing
I
that with us.
answered the
That's
question.
always important. I believe people will hear what they need to hear. We always find in other people's stories what we need to hear, the perfect timing, the perfect person. And sometimes I can say it 100 times my way, and then someone else comes in and says it their way, and they say the same thing, but it hits, yeah, the ground, and it's perfect timing. So,
Right.
ladies, I hope that you found this interview useful. Thank you so much for
Perfect.
taking the time out of your summer, end of the summer time. And I wish you all the best and all the success in the world. And hopefully, maybe again
Thank
in
you.
1 or 2 years, we'll do a third interview here. What do you say?
Certainly. Yeah, I would love to.
Sounds good?
It does.
Okay. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Bye, Claro. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon again here in the club. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.